Hello and welcome to today's Partner Academy Live webcast. The Time to Thrive series presents Compete to Win with the Cloud. Welcome to the fourth of our 12-part monthly webcast series to help you win in the new economy, compete to win, hit your sales targets, and thrive in our mobile world. Join us the second Wednesday of every month at 8 a.m. Pacific for a new session dedicated to improving our sales performance. All sessions are recorded and are going to be posted to the Partner Learning Center within 48 hours of the broadcast. And you can participate on Twitter Live at #TimeToThrive4. Your first presenter today is Ulises Aguilar, who is the CEO for eInfinito. And now, without any further delay, it is my pleasure to hand you over. Ulises, you now have the floor.
Thank you, and welcome for joining us today for our first Telling the Microsoft All-Up Cloud Story webinar. This is a very important session since our goal today is to make sure everyone listening in today learns the Microsoft Cloud story and how we can compete to win in the cloud with our great Microsoft Cloud solutions. Joining me today are speakers for all our cloud business groups. It is my pleasure to introduce our first speaker, Kevin Marcosian, Worldwide Director for Partner Marketing. Thanks for joining us today, Kevin. And I have a couple of questions for you to share with us. The first one is, can you tell us what is the cloud and why customers are interested in the cloud? And the second one, how you tell our all-up cloud story.
Thanks, Ulises. This is a great opportunity to talk about a topic I'm very passionate about. When I think about the cloud at the top level, I think about some of the trends in computing that have happened over the years as we've looked at the change to originally from the mainframe to the personal computer, the move to the graphic user interface, the move to the internet. You might add client-server computing in there as one of the trends. And I would say that the trend that's really the game changer for the next decade at least, and maybe longer, is really cloud computing. And at its heart, cloud computing is a convergence of two streams that we've seen in client-server for quite a while. One of those is the data center, which is running in the enterprises. And the way that the data center has evolved as people try to make things more dynamic and think about those. And then the second trend is really around hosting and how service providers have been building up capacity and scaling, and some of our competitors are building up massive scale to offer broad sets of users the capabilities that in the past only the largest companies could enjoy. And so cloud computing at its heart is really taking all of that huge data center capability and offering it to enterprises of all sizes and then down even to consumers. And so with that trend happening, Microsoft has been working very hard to make sure that we're positioned to ride that next wave and to invite our partners into that mix as well to help us to drive all of that. My name is Kevin McQuistion. I run the partner team for server and cloud computing. I've been at Microsoft for 15 years, and before working on server and cloud, I worked on the Exchange server business, and there I saw a lot of this happening early on with Microsoft's acquisition of Hotmail as we thought about how to integrate that into our mix, and then as we've seen email move forward these last few years into truly a cloud workload. We're looking to see how we can enable that for lots of workloads and then enable all of our partners to offer services on top of that. So that's at a top level, cloud computing. And now I'll talk you through how we look at Microsoft's position in the cloud, some of the things driving that all up, and then clearly some of the things, the hurdles you're going to face as you go in. So my first slide to look at here is really what are the drivers of the cloud. And there are three of those: agility, focus, and economics, and I'll talk about what those are as I go through. Agility is really, I think it's fairly apparent if you're a native English speaker. If you're not, agility is really around being able to move and make changes as quickly as possible without having unnecessary burdens. And so agility for the cloud is really a critical thing because IT infrastructure is continuing to face lots of demands from users, and IT folks are really wanting to offer services at the flip of a switch. And as they do that, it's difficult to scale up and scale down, and the cloud offers an ability to do that. And you can talk about that later on as you look at the cloud, but that's agility at its heart. The second area is something we call focus. This one is really around being able to have those IT folks who typically are maintaining and doing lots of work on just making infrastructure run, 70, 80% of their time, freeing them up to really focus on business value. Now, we've talked about this for a long time, how IT needs to move from maintenance into value add, but with cloud computing, you can really start to do this because there's not so much time spent on making sure that the hardware and the software are working. And then economics is probably the biggest driver of this from a why now perspective. We believe that cloud computing isn't a 10-year out thing. We believe it's a now thing. It's something that is driving economics today, and within the next year or two, you're going to see customers and partners and Microsoft making huge bets on this transformation. And the main reason is because the economics of the cloud are just unbelievable. When you look at the cost of electricity, of maintenance, of all the things that go into maintaining a data center, and you look at the economics of those scaled up, and then you think about the hardware costs of buying all of the hardware on top of the software costs, you look at that from a data center cost perspective relative to cloud, and it's just stunning the difference between those. So that's at the top level, the drivers. That's why we're going to the cloud. That's why it's important. Much of that you've probably heard before, but these are the three main buckets that we use to tell our story: agility, focus, and economics. And most partners and customers, when you talk to them, will acknowledge, yeah, those really are drivers of the cloud. Their question will be when. Is that really now, or is it out in the future? And that goes to my next slide, which is around the cloud obstacles. And when you think about what is blocking the cloud from taking place, there are some things that are keeping from happening immediately, especially public cloud scenarios. The biggest of these continues to be security. People want to have both security and control. A second of these, particularly in Europe, is compliance across borders, making sure that you can offer solutions in countries, that you comply with the government regulations, and that really it streamlines for the economics that we talked about. And then the third of those is compatibility, and this is always a challenge, but we believe that compatibility will be an ongoing issue as we look at migration to cloud scenarios. So with all those drivers and with those obstacles, then you have to start to think about, well, where's Microsoft going and what's Microsoft's position there? And this is where I think we have a fantastic story from the perspective of across the cloud. And when you look at it at its heart, the public and private cloud scenarios are driven by our operating centers, operating systems, Windows Azure in the public and Windows Server in the private scenario. In addition to that, we have some amazing technology that's coming out in System Center with the System Center 2012 product that will soon be available. We believe that these three technologies, Azure, Windows Server, and System Center, will be the underpinnings of much of the shift to cloud computing in the future. And then as you think about where that all comes together, there are applications that get built on top of this because we believe at its heart that this is all about the applications. And those are similar on both sides, but they have different brands. And you see them in the public. We have Office 365 and Dynamics CRM Online and Windows Intune. And then on the Windows Server System Center side, we have the products that many of you know, Link, Exchange, SharePoint, SQL, and Dynamics, all built to enable cloud scenarios and all continuing to advance the opportunity for people to have the self-service that we're looking at, the elasticity that is at the heart of the cloud, the pooling of resources for people to be able to scale up and down, and really the agility on cost that cloud offers. And so against that, when you start to think about what are we doing at Microsoft to bring these together, we really are developing some commons, as we call them, around identity, which we think is critical, starting with Active Directory many years ago and now moving to the cloud. Virtualization with Hyper-V and a lot of the advances we've done there, and you'll see that continue to get better and better. And management on System Center we already talked about, and then development on a number of tools. And really our goal here, and this may surprise people, is to make it as possible for any customer and partner to develop in the cloud, whether or not they are using all of our Microsoft technologies. We believe there are some Microsoft technologies that will be required, but you'll see in the development sphere that we're innovating a lot to offer as many development languages as we can. In the management sphere, we're offering the ability to look across and manage VMware's ESX and Citrix and other hypervisors, because we believe it will be a multiple hypervisor world. And then the identity space, we're working as much as we can to offer identity capabilities across the platform. And so that really is at its heart. And really Microsoft's unique position is that we are the only vendor, we believe, that has both public and private cloud capabilities. And we also believe that we're the only vendor that's offering the management and development across both of those. One of the things you'll hear more and more about is the ability for System Center to manage Azure and the Windows Server private clouds at the same time, and that will be an exciting place. The last thing I just want to mention before we move on and hand off to other presenters is the fact that at the heart of this, I think, is something called automation, which I believe will really drive the future of public and private clouds. Automation is the way that IT can do what I said earlier, which is move off of maintenance and move more into design and development and thinking about applications. And automation in System Center 2012 becomes both much easier, and it gives you a view of IT as a service in order to enable you to think about scenarios beyond just private cloud. Thinking about hybrid scenarios where you could have a private cloud for your enterprise. You could have an Azure application for marketing or a sales thing that needs to scale up or down. And then you could have a hybrid management across both of those, and you could really offer this idea of hybrid IT. So we really are about public, we're about private, we're about hybrid clouds, and we're all about, Microsoft's all about making sure that our partners and our customers have what they need to move into this next trend of computing. That's at the top level what we're looking to do, and I wish you great success in helping us to move this forward.
Thank you very much, Kelvin, and really interesting information that you share with us about the drivers, the obstacles, and how Microsoft enabled the three scenarios. Now, let's hear from Narendra, which is the Senior Program Manager, to learn about Microsoft Private Cloud solutions. Naren, can you tell us the Microsoft Private Cloud story and how Microsoft are compelling value proposition and how everyone can compete to win with the Microsoft Private Cloud solutions?
Thank you so much, and thank you, Kevin, for laying out the story so clearly. What I would like to do is I want to tell the Microsoft Private Cloud story in terms of money. I get a lot of questions from partners, and our own field is, hey, how should we think about, if you think about the broader cloud story, how does private cloud fit into it? And also, equally important, how our partners, as Kevin said, we are in a journey right now, how should they think about private cloud as a source of billing and economics behind it? So the way I would like to lay out the story of private cloud is in terms of its capabilities. I think, we hear a lot of confusion in the market between, hey, am I doing virtualization or am I doing private cloud, right? So one way to think about it is the boxes on the left. If you think about private cloud, these are the pieces, all the way from platform, virtualization, management, security, development, and applications being the core components of private cloud. If you remember the slide which Kevin presented, which is the common slide, you will see that all of these pieces clearly fit into that story. Now, what I do want to call out here is virtualization, which is as we think about where customers are and where they are moving to the cloud story, virtualization is a critical but only one component of the whole private cloud story. And what I wanted to call about is the bar has moved to how to solve customer problems with private cloud. And the bar has moved in two main boxes, right, which is management. If you think about private cloud as a big part of the whole story, what's going to be ever more critical to overcome some of the obstacles which we talked about early in the presentation is going to be systems management, right? And that's where Microsoft with its Systems Center has an extremely strong story, which is really unbeatable in the market. The other private cloud key capability I want to call out is applications. So if you want to think about what's happened in the industry over the last 2 to 3 years, and if I pick VMware's way of thinking versus us, is they're doing bottoms-up thinking, right? The thinking which was happening 3 years back was, hey, how does your storage look like? Let me talk about just optimizing your hardware cost. The conversation of private cloud is top to down, right? Let me talk about what applications are there. Let me talk about what the business problems are. How do I get agile in my business applications and how the various pieces fit into that. So one thing I want to take away from the call for you is when you think about private cloud and Microsoft story, we have a complete story all the way from platform to applications, which is really very unique in the industry. So if you think about the picture I just showed you, and if you think about the opportunity for partners, it's really very unique and actually very large. So what the partner opportunity is, and again, is the whole big box in the middle, right? And every partner in the world is unique. What this picture is not saying that, to become a Microsoft cloud partner, it doesn't mean you need to do all on-premise or hosted or public cloud. What it is saying is you as a partner can pick and choose where you think your strengths are and where you think your niche is. But the good thing is, whichever piece of the puzzle you want to do, what Microsoft lets you do, what Microsoft Story allows you to do, is across the capabilities and across the platform, you have an opportunity to make money in services, hardware, and software. And when you think about what you're delivering with this whole picture is, what are the key economic benefits? It's you're reducing the cost, across hardware, and going and solving core business problems, which Kevin talked about earlier, right? Solving the security problem. You're solving the cloud obstacles. So it's a great opportunity when you think about private cloud. As you move from your virtualization to private cloud practice, it has a whole set of new economic benefits associated with it. So we talked about, if you talk about management, right, as a central pillar, and Kevin talked about, Systems Center going forward, managing more public and private cloud, it becomes really a core part of your cloud practice. So, I can even make a more bold statement on this call, which is to say that, without a strong management / Systems Center practice, you don't have a Microsoft cloud practice. So, one of the key go-tos, which I would say is, think about how do you go and build a strong Systems Center practice. Because your investment in Systems Center not only lets you be in a management space, but makes you a player in the private cloud and ultimately in the public cloud space. So we are launching Systems Center 2012, and if you think about what is the core pillar and value prop, it's really managing both the private and public cloud across applications. And if you look at on the right-hand side, if you look at the key capabilities, the way I look at it is money, 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 which is for each of those components of Systems Center, you can build a huge services practice that goes along with it. And in Systems Center 2012, Kevin earlier talked about automation, right? That's a core piece of component, with our app controller and with our orchestrator, those set of features are actually built in within your systems management. So if you look at the whole capabilities, I wanted to show this picture because if you look at the capabilities across our data center desktop, right, we have a strong set of products that are available today. So this is not, coming 10 years from now. These are products you can sell. We are launching System Center 2012. We have a very strong story with us, and all the pieces are there for partners to go and build a successful Microsoft private cloud practice, starting with management. And finally, before I close and hand it over, I wanted to let you know there is a PSP activation kit. So the login ID, as an external is www.partners-psp.com. The user ID is GoCloud, and the password is GoCloud. And if you click on the private cloud tab, what we have done is to help our partners is gone and put all our key resources by their sales life cycle. And in this site, you can also see some of the great programs like SIP, like PVDPS, which are really there to enable to bootstrap and accelerate your private cloud practice. So happy selling, and back to you.
Thanks, Nareen. There are some great benefits working with private cloud capabilities, as you mentioned, and it's clear that we as partners can make money on services, software, and hardware. Thank you once again, Nareen. And now let's hear from Matt Rogers, one of Microsoft directors for Windows Azure. Matt, Windows Azure has a pretty compelling story to help customers move to the cloud. Can you tell us Microsoft Windows Azure story?
Sure, thanks. So we look at Windows Azure as an important part of what's happening as just a fundamental transformation of server computing. And where a couple years ago you'd see this as some early indicators coming out of the startup world or some rapid expansion in the hosting market, we're really seeing these indicators now coming across every facet of the industry. We're seeing software as a service is now the fastest growing category in the IT space. We're seeing a rapid increase across multiple industries. And because we're seeing this move as quickly, we've reprioritized our entire server and tools division, where Windows Azure is now the #1 priority for all of server and tools. We've created a number of different programs to help you as partners work with customers to adopt public cloud. This is all part of our Windows Azure Circle Partner Program. And we'd love to work with you on some very specifics in your account. So if you want to reach out to some of your local counterparts, we can help you join that partner program. Where we're seeing the broadest adoption at this point is at the intersection of the industries and workloads that we have on this slide right now. To give you a couple of examples, in the financial services space, it's not immediately obvious this would be the fastest adopter of public cloud because this is a highly regulated environment. But these are also some of the most sophisticated users of technology. And we're seeing a ton of adoption right now, particularly around some of these compute-intensive workloads where regulations are requiring these companies to value the assets under management in a much more rapid time period than they used to be required. And there are a lot of partners in this space who are doing interesting work, including Milliman. Milliman creates a product called MG Alpha, which is one of the most widely used financial and modeling tools in the world. They've worked with a number of customers who are adopting MG Alpha running on Windows Azure, including the Phoenix Group out of the UK, which is one of the largest consolidators of funds in the world. And that company is under tremendous pressure to report the value of all of these assets and much more quickly. It was becoming incredibly expensive to run those kind of calculations on on-premise grids. And they're able to do that using the MG Alpha tools that they've been familiar with for a very long time, but running across Microsoft's global grid of computing. So they're able to turn those calculations around much faster in a much less expensive environment. Similarly, in the media entertainment space, that industry is really being transformed by people requiring digital content no matter where they are in the world, no matter what device that they're using. So a number of different providers in the media entertainment space who are betting on Windows Azure and the public cloud to provide that content back to end customers, as well as creating new and interesting experiences for consumers to connect with digital brands effectively. In the manufacturing side, we're seeing a lot of interesting work in the product development space and people using different PLM tools to create and test new products in the cloud. All of these kind of workloads create a ton of data. And this cost of storing all of this data in a traditional on-premise environment is just getting out of hand. And so it's become much more cost-efficient to store that kind of data in the cloud. And so we're seeing a lot of cloud storage providers popping up, including one of my favorites is StoreSimple. So StoreSimple creates a 1U blade server you can plug inside your existing physical network. At that point, it's a node on your network that can store up to 100 terabytes on the device there on your network, and then up to 100 terabytes inside Azure. And that device will actually manage the flow of data between your on-premise network and the cloud and encrypt all of that data as it flows between your on-premise network and the cloud. So it becomes much easier to adopt cloud without having to worry about managing all of the security of that data. It looks just like a device sitting on your on-premise network. So a lot of interesting innovation happening just on the storage side as well. In the retail space, we're seeing a lot of interesting work, particularly around how consumers interact with brands, and then just the flow of data between the entire supply chain of what the latest inventory information is, as well as what the latest demand forecast is. So a lot of interesting work in planning and on the demand side, but also just the experiences that customers have to place orders. So you think about a company like eBay, which had a very well-known website for transacting auction information. They wanted to make that kind of experience available across a range of different devices as a retailer, including the iPad. So today, when you pick up an iPad and you install the eBay app, you're actually running through Windows Azure to pull all of that auction data down to your iPad or to transact and finish an auction through your iPad. So the nice thing for eBay is that they've got one global cloud provider who can work with across all of their different consumers, no matter where they are around the world, to ensure they have a consistent experience of how that data moves from eBay back to that end device. So I hope this gives you some good examples of how people are adopting cloud today. And this, for me, is my third year working on Windows Azure. It's been fascinating to see partners building these new businesses and these new experiences for their customers.
Excellent. Thanks, Matt, for providing Microsoft Windows Azure cloud story. Pretty compelling in my view. I found interesting workloads and industries where we have opportunities for Windows Azure. Now let's turn to Windows Intune and hear from Eileen Hanna from Windows Intune Business Group. Eileen, can you tell Microsoft Windows Intune story and how everyone can compete to win with Windows Intune?
Absolutely. Thank you very much. So Windows Intune is one of the newer additions to the Microsoft suite of online services. And really, we introduced the product to address a growing need for businesses to get greater transparency into what was running across their entire estate of PCs, mobile PCs, on-premise PCs, etc. And what we found was many organizations in the mid-market space had either multiple tools that they were trying to use to manage their security, to keep track of inventory. They weren't clear on what operating systems or versions of software were running across their PCs. And then even in larger organizations, there were a number of PCs for sales forces or remote workers that very often were not connected to the corporate intranet, so they weren't being kept up to date with security patches, etc. And what we were also hearing from a number of customers was it was very hard to keep all the PCs up to date running the latest version of the operating system. And again, for smaller organizations, sometimes the cost and around the infrastructure for an on-premise PC management solution was prohibitive. So we introduced Windows Intune as a cloud service that also includes a Windows upgrade license. So you have a cloud service for the PC management element and a downloadable upgrade license to install on each PC that is covered by Windows Intune, which of course means then you are able to ensure that all your PCs are running the latest and most secure version of the operating system. So Windows Intune is kind of unique in the marketplace when you compare it with any other PC management offering, because it does have that license element inbuilt to it, which does add considerable value to the customers who are using it. The Windows Intune interface is extremely easy to use, and we have focused on trying to drive efficiency for partners who are either managing the PCs on behalf of their customers through a full managed service provider solution, or who may be doing some either escalation help desk or some light touch management of PCs on behalf of customers who may have an on-premise or an admin on staff that is doing the first wave of escalations and patch management. So it is an integrated solution that covers the PC management, patch management, inventory services, security, so it has antivirus built into it. We also enable reporting against what licenses are running on a PC versus what licenses a customer has. Both Microsoft and third-party licenses can be uploaded to the tool. So really giving both the partner and the customer confidence that they can see across their entire estate and keep it well managed and up to date. We're working on very rapid release cycles, so we launched in March this year, and we've already had one revision to the product, and we are aiming to have 2 releases in each year. So again, you will see additional functionality being added frequently. And then, of course, the Windows brand is a strong, trusted brand that does help partners positioning this product in, certainly for customers that maybe haven't explored PC management as an option previously. And then finally, for partners who are looking to build a managed services practice, and we do see a lot moving into this space, they're able to grow the business with less risk, simply because Microsoft has invested in all the infrastructure. So really, you don't have to build that either at your own on-premise infrastructure or your own private cloud infrastructure. You simply leverage ours, and as soon as you have a customer signed up to your managed services, you can activate their Windows Intune account. So there's no exposure or risk for either you or the customer in terms of upfront investment. So what the trends we are seeing around cloud and PC management is that PC management has traditionally been much more of an on-premise solution, and it definitely is moving to the cloud now. And there are significant advantages around that, some of which I've already mentioned. By being cloud-based, you are able to manage your entire PC estate, not just those on the corporate network. So from a potential in the number of PCs that you could be managing and charging for as a partner, what that means is that you are able to increase the number of seats that you are managing, even in existing customers who may have an on-premise solution. And for companies that or customers that have no PC management in place today, the fact that it's a subscription service and that there is no on-premise requirement means that you are able to offer services to customers who previously couldn't have afforded it or certainly weren't budgeting it as a high priority item in their IT budget. Equally, there's more efficiency that can be driven either at the customer or at the partner's IT. You can manage more PCs through having a cloud-based interface rather than needing to be on-premise to resolve any issues that PCs may be having. For partners that we spoke to, or IBC rather spoke to through some research, where they looked at Windows Intune as something to enhance their current PC management offering, so they may have been working with SCCM already or another competitive product, they saw that actually Windows Intune enabled them to expand their offering, and they envisaged growing their revenues associated with Windows Intune by 19% in the first full year of operation. So simply by adding Windows Intune to their portfolio gives them a great opportunity to reach more customers, expand the number of seats under management in their existing customers, and drive efficiency, which led to increased profitability and increased revenue opportunities. And this is just a slide that will show you how that opportunity monetizes. So once you've sold Windows Intune into a customer, there are setup and deployment fees around setting up the Windows 7 or doing the Windows 7 migration. Also ensuring that the agent is deployed on all of the PCs that are going to be managed by Windows Intune. And on a 100-seat deal, that was coming in at around about $13,500 for a 100-seat customer. Ongoing, the biggest and most attractive element was around the managed services, and as I mentioned, we're seeing a lot of partners interested in developing a business practice around managed services. Again, on that 100-seat deal, partners were charging in the region of $28,800 on an ongoing basis, so that was every year they would see that amount from 100 seats under management. Of course, Windows Intune then also has the advanced services that the Windows 7 Enterprise element brings into play, so BitLocker and BitLocker to Go, and many partners were offering consulting services around that. Also, Windows Intune does enable customers to purchase MDOP, the Microsoft Desktop Optimization Pack, for an additional $1 per PC per month, and that also opens up add-on consultation services. The partners were really costing those out at being just short of $20,000 for that 100-seat deal as a one-time deal. And then, of course, there are the partner of record fees, which are a small percentage overall, but you can see how they fit in as an annuity play as well. So year one, roughly $64,000. Year two, a $30,000 ongoing annuity fee from implementing Windows Intune. So with that, I'm going to hand over to Office 365 to build out, and Windows Intune and Office 365 tend to sit very well together. So handing back to you.
Great, Eileen. Thanks for taking the time to join us today so we can learn about Windows Intune, and definitely it's a great platform to extend our services and, of course, to grow our business. Well, now let's turn our attention to Office 365, and joining me is Riyaz Habib-Hai, a program manager in the Microsoft Online Services Division. Riyaz, can you tell us the Office 365 value proposition and why customers should choose Office 365 to improve the productivity of their people at the bottom line?
Absolutely. Thank you very much for this opportunity. The Office 365 value extends beyond than just what the Office provides today from the desktop perspective. And we have 5 main pillars where we use, as you see on the slide, to describe the values of Office 365. The first and foremost is that it provides the best productivity experience for you to online, which includes you can simultaneously edit documents with your colleagues. You can collaborate on documents, not just on your web apps, but also on the desktop apps that you provide. You can conduct online meetings with your colleagues and partners, which includes audio and video, through the link aspect of the suite that is provided as part of the Office 365. You can manage and share your documents and personal insights with colleagues through your SharePoint My Site, and add one more step closer to the collaboration story. You can share your calendar with your colleagues and your partners and your external partners so they can see when they can reach you and have a much better insight to be able to be more productive overall. And sharing documents through your team sites and SharePoint is a key value prop for the improved collaboration online. The other great value for Office 365 is the availability of Office anywhere on all different platforms, where we have invested heavily on making Office available not just to the desktop, but also to the web and your mobile devices. If you follow the announcement recently, we just released a link client for your mobile phones across all platforms, not just Windows Phone, but the iPhone, the Android, and all those phones will now be able to connect users of all those phones to be able to use the link on their mobile devices. And that is one key value prop for Office, to have your productivity go with you anywhere. It works with what you know today, so you're not learning a new product or a new application. This is Office that your users and customers have known forever, and the applications they have used always, and there's nothing new. We're just changing the way they're delivered so that it makes it easy for you to acquire it and use it and remove the barriers of acquisition. The robust security and reliability. Microsoft provides 99% uptime guarantee, which is financially backed, giving IT the peace of mind and giving more control for them to reduce the total cost of ownership of Office and running and deploying Office while getting the same productivity experience that they get today. So this is the value. This is what we see the total package of Office 365 provides for the customers. On the next slide, we talk about what is the opportunity for partners. And we believe that there's interesting opportunities in the space for partners itself. Partners can now expand reach beyond than what they have the current customers and the current Office refresh cycle, which is linked to your desktop refresh. There are new scenarios and new segments of customers that have come up with the cloud scenarios that partners can reach out to. We did a study where partners believe that 70% of the new opportunity comes from offering cloud solutions to their customers. In addition to that, there's an explosion in the small and business space where we can reach to customers where we couldn't reach before and provide some enterprise-class messaging and collaboration solutions which were not available to them without heavily investing in some infrastructure. Partners can grow their revenue by providing managed services around the online services that you've already seen in some other value props. For example, Intune just covered it, that managed services are a major aspect of partner fees on top of advisor fees. And the revenue sharing is annuity, which I'll share in the next slide, which gives you the ability to have recurring revenues and not just the one-time revenues that you get through margin. Partners can also increase capacity from what they currently have, the current sales team, and be able to leverage the cloud solutions and the cloud infrastructure provided by Microsoft to be able to sell more and reach out to more customers by taking the overhead of deployment, a lot of the deployment and the manageability out by the online services. So these are the opportunities that we see across the partner ecosystem. On the next slide, we talk about the online suite and how the partners will be able to tap into the recurring revenue model. You get the 12% added and 6% residual income, and the 6% residual income is year-over-year added income that the partners can now get on top of what they get for just deploying Office and being able to sell it. So there is more incremental opportunity for the partners just for selling the online productivity business suite. But where the majority of the revenue the new revenue for the partners comes from, is the top two portions of this bucket, which is managed services and business consultation. The total of $167 per seat was an IDC study conducted by Microsoft, where this number fluctuated from around $167 to $187, where partners can make, on top of what they've been getting today by partner fees and migration and integration, by providing managed services and business consultations, partners can add to their revenue and the bottom line and increase the reach using Office 365 and online services together. So that is a total package what Office provides along with the online services value provided by Microsoft.
Excellent.
Back to you.
Okay, thank you, Riyad. Really interesting opportunities for partners on the Office 365. Finally, let's focus on Microsoft Great CRM Online business. And CRM Online is a great solution for our customers who are looking to improve the productivity of their sales teams, sales managers, and customer services professionals. With me is Kim Beck, Director of CRM Online. Kim, can you tell us Microsoft compelling CRM Online solution and how we are a better solution for our customers?
Absolutely. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to speak to everyone today. So before I get into the specifics of CRM Online, I just wanted to share for folks on the phone that might not be as familiar with our customer relationship management application, the fact that we have truly witnessed with our product a definite switch to cloud. So over 60% of our new CRM customer ads are actually coming from CRM Online implementations. It is very clear that our customers across all segments, be it in the small to mid-sized business to enterprise customers, are interested in this mode of delivery. So we actually have, for CRM all up, over 2 million users in over 80 countries, and we provide the service in 40 languages. We've got 30,000 customers, as I mentioned, across all types of segments, and we are growing our partner and our hosting provider base. Now, specific to the CRM Online service, it is truly a global offering that is served by 3 data centers. Or actually, I shouldn't say 3 data centers because of the mirroring. We have more than that. We actually have and are serviced out of 3 areas: the Americas, EMEA, and APAC. We also offer a multi-tenant architecture with regards to how the product is actually built. And what you have in terms of functionality for an on-premises solution is absolutely what you get in the cloud. So we offer complete symmetry for developers. And this, for folks that actually are familiar with CRM Online, this has been an improvement over what the CRM Online service was over 2 years ago. So we have absolute symmetry at this point. And what we are doing is we are actually augmenting the functionality that we provide out of the box with a very robust set of partners which are populated in the Dynamics marketplace. So that's just a little bit about sort of where we've been and how we're growing. Now, the product itself is actually a full suite of capabilities. And so when we talk about CRM Online, we're talking about an application that includes sales, customer service, and marketing solutions, and this notion of extended CRM. And all of this functionality is actually available and can be consumed through traditional PCs, browsers, and mobile devices. Now, when we talk about extended CRM applications, what we mean is that it's really essentially a tool set that our customers and partners actually can use to support different types of scenarios, customer scenarios, scenarios that are not necessarily tightly associated with customer service or sales. So, for example, we have customers that are using CRM to manage military troops in basically various theaters around the world. We also have folks that are using CRM to manage prison populations. So, I mean, essentially, it's a line of business application development platform that allows partners to deliver a great deal of value to end customers. And it's a tool set that really allows both, our Microsoft sellers and partners to address various industries in markets throughout the world. Now, getting into sort of specifically the value and why we win actually with CRM Online, it really comes back to these 4 key points. So first and foremost, as I mentioned before, with CRM Online, you're getting a comprehensive solution. Unlike the competitors, we don't nickel and dime our customers by charging them, separate price points for pieces of functionality. And that makes a very big difference. If you were to compare what our customers get out of the box with CRM versus what they get with Salesforce.com, you would find our greatest competitor in the space that Salesforce.com actually charges extra for a lot of the functionality that we provide. Secondly, we also think that just on a cost perspective, if you're an end customer, we really offer the best value in the industry. We do that for CRM, and we also do that when you actually consider the value that we can deliver if you combine CRM Online with Office 365. So for roughly $68 per user. When you purchase those two Microsoft Cloud solutions, you're getting not only full CRM functionality for your end customer, but you're also providing them SharePoint, Link Unified Communications, and Exchange Online. And you can contrast that with, for the equivalent just CRM functionality, a price point of about $250 per user for Salesforce.com for their enterprise, their unlimited enterprise edition. So, you know, the sort of the value, just from a cost perspective, is very, very clear. Now, we actually had partnered with Forrester to further explore the value that we provide and validate the value we provide with customers. And they found, based on their analysis, that we delivered a 243 return on investment and a payback period of 4.1 months. Now, so for the folks on the phone that are actively selling, trying to make the case for CRM Online, we think that this is a very compelling sales tool that you can use, and you can actually find it if you're a Microsoft seller on Infopedia, and if you're a partner on the Microsoft Partner Network website. Now, another point that I'd like to make here, and certainly one of the messages that we like to reinforce with our customers, is that CRM is really all about empowering the end user and allowing different roles within an organization to maximize their effectiveness. And that's going to come through in sort of the investments that we're making from a development perspective. So very recently, we actually launched the latest version, or the November 2001 service update. And in that particular update, we actually delivered the unified Office 365 experience, which is really about allowing us to come to the table with both CRM Online and Office 365, offering unified provisioning, billing, and administration. So very, very compelling for the customer that's looking to outsource to Microsoft and move to the cloud. Well, we also made available enterprise cloud functionality, so offering identity federation, improved disaster recovery, and then industry certification, which, if any of you are selling into specific industries, you know that in some cases it absolutely, these certifications need to be in place if you're going to go, for example, after financial services organization. We also developed some new BI capabilities and provided the first wave of our social functionality in the form of activity feeds. So those are essentially, you know, benefits that you can certainly tout with prospects. And what I'd like to close on is, and in this particular case, I'm going to be addressing partners who are on the call specifically. If you're not using it already, use our product to manage your business. So as a Microsoft partner, you actually have access and can benefit from a CRM Online internal use rights offer, which is available to up to 250 of your users, free of charge from Microsoft. So take advantage of that offer. If you're wondering how much money you can make selling CRM Online, I invite you to actually read the profitability guide. Again, that's available on the MPN site. We also provide our partners with a development account that's available for 12 months, so you can actually get a sense for how some of your customizations might perform in a hosted, Microsoft-hosted environment. With the new update, we actually allow you to basically attach yourself to a subscription. And we've heard from partners that actually that encourages them to sell more CRM Online, because now they know for sure that when they're actually selling CRM Online that they will get credit for that sale. So that's now available now that we have with this new release in November 2011. So if you're not aware of this, please educate yourself on MPN or speak to your partner account manager if in fact you have an assigned PAM. And then lastly, we have got great training that's available through the Partner Academy and the Partner Development Centers. So again, I mean, we have made the transition to cloud with CRM Online. That's where the growth is coming from in our business. And the size and complexity of the deals that we are involved in and winning is growing every single day, and it's just an exciting time to be in the CRM and cloud space. Thank you.
Thank you, Kim. Interesting points. And thank you, everyone from Microsoft Business Groups who took the time to participate in this exciting and groundbreaking webinar. I'm a Microsoft partner who has been traveling around Latin America helping other partners transform their business to the cloud. And let me close this webinar by telling you how I tell the Microsoft story to other partners and my customers. When I talk to customers and partners, I usually share some best practices that help them to cut costs, improve productivity, and gain more with within the cloud. This evolution and trend has no way to stop, and customers are requesting us to provide services and solutions with the Microsoft Cloud Platform. So we need to be prepared to change and also be prepared to make more money. So what we need to do? We need to be part of this disruptive technology that has benefits for you and your customers. Second, why you have to do it? It's because there is a huge business opportunity for you out there when we talk about the cloud services. And if you ask yourself how to do it, I want to encourage you to be prepared for this new business model and gain more with Microsoft Cloud. If you're asking where to start, I invite you to be part of the Microsoft Business Model Transformation Workshops in a city near from you. My challenge to each of you is everyone on this call should be able to tell the Microsoft All-Up Cloud story on the spot, in an elevator, draw it in a whiteboard, or scribble on the back of a napkin over lunch with a customer. Microsoft is the only company on the planet that offers customers three things. First of all, Microsoft offers cloud solutions across private, public, and hybrid environments. Second, Microsoft offers customers power of choice and cloud on your terms. Microsoft can provide customers the choice of putting all their business in a private, public, or any combination. And third, Microsoft offers the strength and security of the Microsoft brand. Thanks for joining me today. I wish you a happy cloud selling. Please join us next month for another great time to thrive. BWeb Next Series is on January 11th at 8 a.m. Pacific Time to learn how to meet your sales target with Kendra Lee. Thank you very much.
So be what's next with our Time to Thrive series, a webcast series dedicated to helping partner sellers compete to win. Continue the discussion and join us on our sales specialist group on LinkedIn after the webcast, where Ulises Aguilar will continue to answer your questions. At this time, I'd like to start the Q&A session. As a reminder, if you would like to ask a question, you can click on the Q&A pane on your screen and submit your question via text. And we'll give a couple seconds to see if anyone has any questions. And so we'll go ahead and move on. We've enabled our webcast survey. You should see the survey via web page. Please enter your email address to access the survey questions. We appreciate you taking a moment to fill out this survey prior to logging out. Please be sure to click the Submit button at the bottom of the page to ensure your feedback is received. This concludes today's Partner Academy Live session. All materials from today's presentation